welcome back to the channel. About Sensational Butterfly Queen. Today we are discussing the guilt that we tend to feel when we start setting boundaries. So let's get into today's video. As someone who is a recovering people pleaser, when I first started setting boundaries, I can tell you my body was thrown into utter confusion. Well, yeah, my body was thrown into utter confusion, meaning I had so much anxiety in my body that I literally felt like I was gonna throw up. Um, I felt I felt as if to say I was gonna have a panic attack. Anxiety is no joke, and it comes from the fact that because we have lived so many years, decades for some of us, in this state of being a people pleaser, that when we disrupt that programming, our bodies don't know what to think. Our minds don't know how to feel, how to compute this new information, and so we are thrown into utter chaos and confusion at times. But it's a part of the process. I know it may not seem like it is, but believe you me, it's all a part of the process of recovering from people pleasing. The guilt that we experience when we set a boundary comes because we are telling ourselves that we have done the wrong thing. And it's not that we have done the wrong thing. In fact, we have done the best thing for ourselves. But because we have lived in a space where we are always catering to everyone else's needs and forgetting about our own, when we do something for ourselves, it is foreign and we experience that guilt. But I want you to remember that you are not God. Hear me again. You are not God. You can't jump into every situation and please everyone around you. You're gonna experience burnout and frustration. You're gonna get angry at yourself. You're gonna get angry at others when it's not their fault, when it's coming from you. So listen to what I'm telling you. Setting boundaries is healthy, and learning to set boundaries with people who often overstep their positions in your life is so important, because there are people out there who prey on vulnerable people who don't know who they are. And for people pleasers, a lot of times it comes, we don't know who we are, and so we are looking for validation from everyone else around us because we don't want to upset anyone. We don't want to break the status quo. But I'm telling you, you have to break that way of thinking. You have to break that mindset in order for you to move forward with your life. Otherwise, you're gonna die and live and die and go to your grave being a people pleaser all the days of your life, never fully experiencing everything that God have for you to experience on this earth, because you are afraid of breaking the mold and you are afraid of stepping out of the box. I've been there. I've been in that place where you're so scared to shake up the box. You think that you have to go along to get along, and it's not a good place to be in. I've been in a place where when you finally step out and start breaking the mold, you're placed in a place of isolation because everyone around you, they no longer know how to categorize you. Because before, you were a people pleaser. Before, you were the ultimate person, the ultimate go-to person, right? Because they know what category to put you. Oh, call this person, and they will do everything they tell you to do, they never to do. But there you start saying no. They no longer know what box to put you in, and that is a good thing. But for you now, as the person who is breaking that pattern, you feel a sense of guilt. And actually, you may feel like you're lost. You feel as if to say you're no longer yourself. But the truth is, the person that you were before wasn't you. That was just a mask that you put on to keep yourself from being hurt. That was just a mask that you put on to keep yourself from being seen. and from being rejected. So when you begin to say no, when you begin to break the pattern of your life of being a people pleaser, guilt is a part of that journey. And you have to experience the guilt. You have to sit in that guilt and let it flow through your body in anxiety. Let it flow through your body in crying. Let it flow through your body in having a full on meltdown if you have to. Because that is your body grieving what you have always done to try to decipher, to start a new way of thinking, a new mindset, and a new pattern. So allow that guilt to come and sit in that guilt and feel that guilt and know that you are doing the right thing. You are doing the best thing for you. One way of coping with this guilt is to reframe the word guilt and tell yourself, this is what I have to do in order to heal. This is what I have to do in order to break free from this toxic pattern and this toxic part that I'm on. This is what I have to do. And this guilt that I'm experiencing is just a part of my past that I'm grieving. The guilt is something that you're grieving. You're grieving the past self. So you have to allow yourself to feel it and reframe the thought and tell yourself that it hurts right now, but what you're doing is the best decision for you, and it's also the best decision for everyone else around you. Because when we break away from the toxic patterns that keep us stuck in our people pleasing ways, we are teaching someone else that they can do it as well. And as scary as that is, there are a bunch of people around us on a daily basis who are also stuck in this toxic pattern of being a people pleaser, and they are also looking for that courage to break away. So when we break away from that people pleasing tendency, we are helping others who are looking at us that we don't even know that they are looking at us, but they are looking at us. So you stay in the course and not going back on your boundary, staying consistent with setting your boundaries and expressing yourself, as hard as it may be right now, is beneficial not only for yourself but for someone else who is looking at you, who wants that courage to break away from their people pleasing tendencies as well. One of the main reasons why we experience guilt as well is because we have never taken the time to sit down and to understand ourselves. So that mask that I was speaking about was a protective mask, and now that we have taken off that mask, we are telling ourselves, who am I, without being everybody's person, everyone's go-through person. Who am I that I'm no longer catering to everyone around me? That is something that you have to discover on your own. That is something that you have to discover as the journey goes along. And one way of discovering yourself again is by taking a journal and writing out the things that bothers you. The reason why I'm saying to write down the things that bothers you is because a lot of times the things that bothers us is an indication of the things deep inside of us that help us to form our identity. For example, you may be someone who don't like injustice. You don't like seeing others hurt. You don't like seeing others being taken advantage of. That's an indicator of your life's compass and the things that make you you. And while we were a people pleaser, we stuff those things on the inside of us in order to mask, in order to placate to every one of us and to be that cute, that very cutesy, that very demure, or whatever the world is saying right now. That person who is just humble, appears to be humble, not that person who is shaking up the world. But I want you to shake up the world. I want you to sit down and write out the things that you may not like. And in writing down the things that you may not like, you're gonna then discover the things that you do like. What the heck is wrong with this light? Huh? You're then gonna be better to discover the things that you do like. So before we end today's video, a very important reason why you have to sit in the guilt and experience the guilt and get over the guilt is because there are people in this world who are oversteppers. There are people in this world who live to push our buttons. There are people in this world who live to be controlling and manipulative. And if we don't learn how to sit in the guilt and overcome this guilt, we're gonna go back into our people pleasing tendencies, which is what these kind of people feed off of. They feed off the energy of people like us who just go along. This feed off of our kindness. They feed not kindness, they feed off of our niceness, because being kind and being nice is two different things. I'm going to talk about that in our next video. They feed off of our niceness. They count on us being nice, and when you're nice, you don't push the boundaries. When you're nice, you just go along for going along's sake. When you're nice, you don't upset the status quo. But when you're kind now, you're doing it out of a heart of compassion. You're doing it out of a place of empathy. And you also know how much you can handle. And you also know where to draw the line when you're kind. When you're nice, you don't know how to set a boundary and you don't know where to draw the line. And that's why people are always taking advantage of the people who they quote unquote are called nice and not kind. So experience the guilt and know that that guilt is not gonna last forever. The more you set a boundary, the more you stay consistent, the more you are communicative with your boundary line. After a while, when you set your boundary and when you enforce your boundary, you're gonna see that guilt is not gonna come anymore. So you have to stick with the process. You have to stick it out. As hard as it is right now, as anxiety laden as you may feel right now, you have to stick out that guilty feeling that comes from the pit of your stomach. You have to stick out that guilty feeling. For you to overcome and for you to grow, you have to stick out that feeling that comes in your chest, and your chest is just pumping because you're fearful of what others may say. And you're fearful that you're not gonna be like, and let them tell you right now, not everyone is gonna like you. So we have to get comfortable with that feeling, that knowing that not everyone is gonna like us. Because the sad truth and the sad fact is, even in our people pleasing ways, when we are doing everything for everyone so that they like us, guess what? They still don't like us, but they know that we don't love ourselves, and so they take advantage of that fact and use us until they can't use us anymore, until they get sick of us and they try to discard us. So what I'm telling you to do, stop that in the tracks right now, and you break away from that toxic pattern for your own self. Take a deep breath and be brave about it and start setting boundaries, and know that guilt is a part of the process, but it's not gonna last forever. As long as you stay consistent with setting healthy boundaries, that guilt is gonna disappear. This is it, my beautiful butterflies, for today's video. And In our next video, I'm not sure what I'm gonna talk about. I may talk about the Superman complex, or I may talk about being nice versus being kind. So, with either one, we're gonna dive into those next two topics. I just don't know which one I'm gonna do at the moment. So, I will see you guys in our next video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, invite a friend, someone that you may know that is also struggling with being a people pleaser, and share the video. You never know what sharing this video can do in the life of someone else who is struggling just as we are. We are all on a journey of discovering ourselves and who God has created us to be on this earth. So I'll see you in our next video.